DW Africalink.
Hello there, and greetings from Bonn, Germany, the heart of Europe. We are deeply grateful, humbled, and honored that you have chosen Africalink as the source of unbiased, objective, balanced, and constructive stories, and of course, magazines we continue producing. With our years of experience, we are unwavering in our commitment to bring you even more in the years to come. And today, I'm so excited to introduce to you some special guests who are part of the dedicated team behind Africalink's production. They are also a testament to our ongoing commitment to you, our audience. And we launched today our baby product that you've been listening for some days, but today we officially launched it out there with wonderful hosts, as you might see on the banner there, and also with so much that we are going to offer to you in this special podcast that we are launching today. Why am I saying this? You also have your voice. Some of you have been writing to us what you expect or what you want us to do. And why not? At your service, we shall do that without hesitation. Yes, we shall do it. And that's why we're here. I'm glad to introduce to you Asumpta Lattus. She is the team leader. And she will tell you so much that you've been wanting to know why we choose some topics, why we do them. And she does that, of course, with the team. Josey Mahachi, she is one of our dedicated hosts, together with Eddie Micah Jr., who's not here, but Josey is here representing him and also the rest of the team. And also, last but not least, my namesake in Accra, Kaledzi, multimedia journalist. Oh, she has so many titles, and she's one of the most incredible and reliable correspondents that we have at Africalink for many, many years. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you so much, Isaac.
Yes, and of course, myself, Isaac Mugabe, I'll be your host and producer for this special podcast. So I will start with you, Asumpta. A little later, we'll come to Josey and then Isaac Kaledzi. And also, I have some comments that I will be reading here from our users on Facebook, what they want us to do or what they're looking forward to. First of all, briefly walk the listener or someone watching us on YouTube right now, the transition from the show we had before Africalink and the podcasts, and maybe the reasons behind it.
Thank you very much, Isaac Mugabe. I have to say both names because we have two Isaacs in here for this invitation, first of all, and for this opportunity to speak directly to our users, to our listeners, ardent listeners who have been following us for years. As you all know, we started Africalink 13 years ago. I remember this because my own son was born on that year, 2011. So this is my second son, I would say. And it was incredible the way we started. We started just like any other radio station, building reports, getting reports from our correspondents. And we, over the years, we changed and we put that show online on a Facebook Live and integrated most voices and conversation from you and questions while we are on air. As time goes, we know that we have to go with time because the way our consumer, our listener, consuming radio and media products are changing as well. So, and we had this urge to listen to you and to see exactly what we can do. And it was at the beginning of last year when our distribution department at DW told us and said, listen, our partners, they have been saying about things about the show Africalink. They love everything that you do, but there's one thing. Everything that you do is actually what our local, the different local outlets and local media houses are doing. So can you do something different? Can you do something that probably is not cannot be found in local media outlets? And this is the time that we sit down together as a team and to think, what can we do? And we came up with this idea of having a monothematic show. As you remember, we started that monothematic last year, 2013. Only once a week we were doing that, just to test the waters, how deep they are, and how we can make it work, and also how do you like it. Apparently, this is what most of you, the users, is what you want. I mean, you want to have an in-depth, analytic, backgroundy pieces, instead of just having small pieces that actually you can get from the local media houses. And this is how this is how we came from. And most importantly, I have to say, is that at DW, we are also changing our faces and saying, I mean, hey, we have to go on demand, because only being on radio, it won't help us, because our users are now all over the places. People are listening to audio content from different channels, be it on YouTube, for example, social media channels, Facebook, but also they are on podcast platforms. So, and this is where we want to get everyone who want to listen to our content in different platforms and different channels as well.
Now, Josey, let me come to you. Why do you think our viewers right now, following us on YouTube or even listening to us on our different platforms, they should come and watch you, host that podcast?
Thanks a lot, Isaac. So, it's so difficult to speak after the boss has spoken. You should have done it the other way around.
Assume that she's not.
I was just wondering why he's asking to me this question. Actually, you are the person to speak about it more. More.
I decided that way before the boss, says I'm going for another meeting.
Okay, absolutely. I mean, but she has really touched on a lot of things, Isaac. Yeah. Personally, speaking from my own experience, this has been one of the greatest challenges that I've been granted. Making sure that you drive a discussion, a three-way discussion where you are asking all the questions, and you need to know that you get all the answers and at the end solutions to whatever topic that you're trying to cover. It's different from the former Africalink, where we had different packages, but now this is delving deeper into a topic. And also, Africalink podcast being a platform for diverse, authentic voices from the continent. It's really been offering a deep dive into the stories also that are shaping the continent today. The fact that we also, bring together experts, leaders. I mean, we've even had presidents on Africalink podcast, and also our correspondents to provide insights you might not, and I'll say this confidently, won't find elsewhere. It's also not just news, it's context, analysis. And one thing that I also know, especially from you as our producer, is bringing in the human stories. You always love those human stories, behind the headlines.
Thank you for that, experience that you're sharing, and that's why, as a preamble, I began with Asumpta, to tell us, and then it's good that you are delving into much of what's expected of you and what you're doing, personally, as a producer, sometimes you produce and then the host like you shoot the hard questions to the guests. And sometimes they have a tendency of not diverging so much, Yeah. I always follow the challenge that you go through when someone is not giving out information. Now, what are you looking forward to the guests you'll be having, especially when they don't want to delve so much into what you want them to tell us the story. So, any tricks that you want to share?
Usually with the experts that we have and the analysts that we have, they don't withhold. It's only the politicians that you find they often withhold information, Isaac. And gaining access to that information can be difficult. But we always handle this by focusing on asking clear, specific questions that at times there is no runaway route. They can't run away from answering that. And we also ensure that, we are informed on the topic. You see, we have a big team from the the person we call the AL who does the research, find the guests, to the producer, then to us, the host, as well. We have a role to play. You just don't come there and start asking questions. You have to research on your guest. You have to also research on the topic. So we navigate around getting all these answers. And at the same time, we also balance by speaking to analysts, like I said, our correspondents on ground. I'm glad today we have Isaac Kaledzi here, who's also representing all our correspondents. I mean, we get a lot of insight from them as well. Even before we speak to some of our guests, we have to go to our correspondents. Oh, I'm speaking to this person. What do you think should be the angle, And also even citizens, we have Vox Pops, remember? We have citizens also from African countries to provide a fuller picture of the issue at hand. So for us at Africalink, it's about creating a dialogue that goes beyond just the politicians, the analysts, the analysis narrative.
Exactly, because with my experience coming to 25 years in the media, politicians never say sometimes what they mean and never mean what they say. Kaledzi, I'm coming to you on Wednesday. There's a story that we kept on discussing even in our chat group about the anti-LGBTQ bill law. And in the wires, they started off saying law, and then yet it's still a bill, and then they came correcting themselves. And this is why I went, I brought as an example, because it was on Wednesday, to you as our correspondent. I mean, share with our viewers and listeners, the importance of, getting the facts clear and balancing the story so that Josey, the host, or me, the producer, we don't feed, our audience with, call it fake news or even unresearched work. Over to you, Kaledzi.
Yeah, I mean, it's important because for all of us who work on the ground as journalists, we are excited when our stories are being properly given the platform that they need. And most importantly, to even get opportunity to put them into context, into perspective, because usually sometimes news reporting could be a bit of a rush. And so the context and all the details that will help the listener better appreciate the whole complete story sometimes can be missing. And so that's what the podcast provides. It provides our opportunity for us to come onto the show to give the backstory. Because obviously, the way media has evolved, I mean, the news breaks on social media, it's all over the place. So as traditional media outlets, we cannot say we are breaking the story, but what our listeners will appreciate is the authenticity, the facts, and some other kinds of things they can learn and knowledge they can pick from what has happened. And once we get an opportunity, we are able to bring to bear the facts, the details that will make the story complete. And that's what I love about the new format of the podcast, that it gives us that opportunity as storytellers to be there to explain, to give clarifications and details, and also to give people insight into how we cover the stories and what we encountered and how we hope that things will evolve. Because again, like I always say, we are part of the society. And so obviously, if the roads are bad, we also use the same road. If people's rights have been abused, obviously we can form victims. So we can also bring that perspective to bear in the conversation. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Kaledzi. Actually, let me first come back to Asumpta, because this is a quick one, which I want to kind of to make as a rejoinder to what you just mentioned, the need for balancing and also getting facts clear. So, Asumpta, how important is this podcast to local, regional, continental level? Before I come to Kaledzi, also to highlight a little bit how important it is to Ghana.
It's there are a few things that I think people have to understand. I mean, the way we're doing this podcast and the way we're putting out there, it's quite important to understand that we are not getting stories from here. The stories are coming from the ground. Our correspondent is the lead of every story that we're producing, and that means it is coming from the backyard, and it is also explained by the correspondent how it is and how the things are happening on the ground, and it's always relevant, not only, let's say, if the story is coming from Ghana and Isaac Kaledzi is the one pitching it and explaining it, it is, we say this at the beginning, that it is relatable also to another country, to another continent as well. It's, I mean, when you say that how important this is, I should really say that I have to mention, I mean, I've been thinking about that in the sense that their media or their countries, let's say, there are countries which are clamping down media industry, and some correspondents are not even allowed to speak about, not correspondent, I say, I mean, in that case, local media, they're not allowed to speak about on certain topics. And thanks to these correspondents who are telling us what's going on, then we can freely speak about the topics that, and not only speak about them, but analyze and criticize and explain the whole. I mean, what's going on. I mean, I'll give you an example here of the Zambia story, the Zambian story that we had on a podcast.
Yes, the one Lungu being bad.
The Lungu being, yes, exactly. The way we discuss and cover that story is not the way probably a local media house would cover. We have that liberty, we have that capacity, like, not because of being because of the political, challenges that the country is facing, being it social challenges that the country is facing, or economical challenges that the media houses are facing. We are able to analyze, to dissect the topic that probably a local media house cannot analyze. And that's why I think this podcast is very, very important. And what is also important is that people speak their mind, speak what they think that should be changed, that should be, what can really bring an impact in their societies, and not, speaking artificially, but speaking their mind and speaking really in the sense that, okay, this is what's happening here, and we need to change this, not in a way of activism, but in a way that the facts are understandable, factual, not in fake news, not bringing in some misinformation, but these are the facts, and this is what's going on, and these could be the solutions. And that's why also this, our correspondent also, we keep on saying to our correspondents as well, constructive journalism is always nice. Don't only bring out, a problem and negative stuff, but what is the solution to that? And this is what this podcast wants to bring out. We have a problem, but how can we solve that problem? And the problems most of the time are not only the governments have to solve that problem.
Yes, Josey, add something, and Kaledzi as well. Over to you.
She's really said it all.
Yes.
There is, it's actually very true, because I will give an example of what's happening in Zimbabwe right now. Lake Chivero, the water has turned green. Some rhinos actually died, and fish is also dying, turning green. And everybody is blaming the government. Yeah, at some stage, yes, that's true. But remember also, there are people that are actually now starting to pollute these waters, throwing in papers and all. So there are times when we try to be, factual. There are times when we try to also lead our discussion into also making sure that the citizens are responsible people as well, right? But it's very hard at times. You see the backlash we get, mostly, oh no, it's this guy, it's the president, it's this, or DW, you are not factual, or DW are fake news. We live with this every day. But I am happy that Asumpta has actually also touched on that, sometimes it starts with me, it starts with you. before we even look to these leaders. We cannot expect them to do everything. Yeah, they have their own faults. They all have their own problems that they of course that we expect them to solve, but we also play a role as citizens, as journalists, and this is what we are trying to do. All of us sitting here today, we're trying to also make sure that this starts with us. Yeah.
Okay, Kaledzi, over to you. You're closing, about what Asumpta and Josey just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like we always say, journalists, our roles are very, very, very expansive and extensive. And so, yeah, we hold people in power accountable, but our job also is also to create awareness, educate people, enlighten people, because that's the only way citizens can realize that also they also have the role to play in actually getting things fixed in their small ways or in their countries, taking initiatives on their own, and knowing that the society produces whoever is leading us. If the leader is bad, it means we are bad. And if we want to put them in shape, then it means we have to do it collectively and put them in shape, either voting them out or either we protest and demand for accountability. So I think that, yes, I'm not sure that anyone is here is saying that leaders shouldn't be held accountable, shouldn't be the ones who are the ones to pay the price. But what we are saying is that we must get involved and ensure that the activism that requires that we get things done for ourselves, we must do it ourselves. We must hold our leaders accountable. We must also decide to also be responsible citizens. And basically, we can always do that as well if the media gives us the right focus of reporting the facts, the details, and informs us in our actions. Yeah.
Well said, Kaledzi. Now, Asumpta, I can't wind up this wonderful discussion.
Solo, Isaac.
Yes, yeah. Wait. I can't wind up this conversation without asking you a very important question. Maybe summing it up, start with the role of women that they're going to have in this podcast, and also give us the kind of closing remarks for this special podcast on the launch.
So I'll make it quick in the sense that what we are expecting, what is it that we're expecting by launching this podcast? We would love to get more stories from all over the places in Africa, and that means our correspondents will be more active. And so involve more correspondents and the people who are speaking your language and speaking about the stories that really matters from you. One thing that we haven't really been having a lot in our podcast since we started in June this year is involvement of women. We have been speaking about, as a Kaledzi, you have been speaking about, being responsible citizens and being involved in matters that really matters to us, of our concerns. And one of the problems that we have been facing is getting women as experts speaking about different things. We have lots of women who are experts out there. We have lots of women who are politicians out there. We have working in banks and all over the places. But whenever we want to get someone to speak about those issues, then there are lots of problems. I have that, I have this, I have that. And sometimes I say that probably it's us women trying not to move from the comfort zone and trying to do something more so that we are visible and make sure that let people know that we can say things about important things. We can take responsibilities. We can also, be involved in matters that really, really are of concerns to our society. So my plea to all the women out there, this is a playground for you, not really a playground in the sense that this is your platform as well. And we would love to have your voices in here.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Asumpta Lattus. Thank you so much, Josey Mahachi and Isaac Kaledzi in Accra. To you, the listener, or someone viewing this on our YouTube platform, just let me remind you, we have all of you covered on our Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, DWAfrica YouTube, and of course, directly on our website, dw.com/Africa. We'd like to hear from you. in the comment section. Please tell us anything, share with us your story. And if you have a personal story that you want us really to come to you, we shall come to you and bring it to you, to the rest of the world and Africa. Many thanks. I was your host, Isaac Mugabe, and enjoy a splendid weekend after the launch of this wonderful podcast.
DW, made for minds.